Thanks for joining us. I'm Mitchell Ringos. Thunder Bay City Council will be asked tomorrow night to proceed with the next phase of the Centennial Botanical Conservatory renewal. The recommendation asks Council to approve more than $3 million from the Renew Thunder Bay Fund for the work. The renewal involves accessibility upgrades, adding an event room, replacing glass panels, and more. The total cost of the project is expected to be up to $8 million, though the city has already secured nearly $4 million from higher levels of government. The report coming to Council mentions a tender being put out this summer with construction planned for spring of 2024. The plan was to begin this construction season year, but the city was forced to push back the project by a year. Last year, the Lakehead Nurse Practitioner-led clinic received over $750,000 from the Ministry of Health to expand their space. And on Friday, the clinic hosted a grand opening for the expansion. The new section will enable the NP-led clinic to further enhance the holistic approach to care that they offer their patients, particularly those who do not have a family doctor. Mike Lang reports.
It was a team effort that allowed for the expansion of the Lakehead Nurse Practitioner-led clinic. The collaboration between the clinic's NPs and local politicians will allow the clinic to continue implementing their own team-based approach to treating patients thanks to their expanded East Wing. The new section of the clinic features boardrooms and office spaces for a variety of healthcare professionals to treat their patients, along with a new gym space for those who require exercise or physiotherapy as part of their treatment.
Team-based medicine is the future of healthcare, and it involves a team working to their full capacity, and we really pride ourselves on doing that here to meet patients' needs.
The care team at the clinic features a social worker, registered dietitian, and pharmacist in addition to their nurse practitioners. The clinic was also able to hire 2 new NPs thanks to the funding. The increased staff will enable them to treat an additional 1,600 patients, as well as provide increased access to mental health and addiction services. Louise Piercy is a patient of the Lakehead Clinic, and she is forever grateful for how they helped her overcome her mental health crisis.
I don't know that there are enough words that I could describe to say how grateful I am and honored that and privileged to be a part of this clinic, and to know that without them, I'm not sure how successful I would have been and being able to stand here and speak to you today.
MPP Kevin Holland says funding the clinic's expansion was another means for the provincial government to invest in the prevention aspect of care, which can reduce wait times and lessen the overall burden on the healthcare system.
Prevention is key to everybody's overall health, from mental health to physical health. If we can prevent circumstances or diseases or illness from occurring, it's better quality of life for the patient, it's a reduction of strain on the healthcare system, and then that way those who do require more intensive care have the accessibility to receive that.
The nurse practitioner-led clinic still has to hire a registered kinesiologist and physiotherapist, and they plan to continue adding more NPs to their staff. Mike Lang, TBT News.
The potential for development of a proposed gold mine near Dryden is very encouraging, according to the proponent. A delegation from Treasury Metals recently presented its pre-feasibility study for the Goliath Gold Complex to Dryden Council. The mining company representatives say everything from road accessibility to sustainability of the mine look favorable. They project a lifespan of 13 years, producing 1.2 million ounces of gold. Treasury Metals President Jeremy Wyeth calls Goliath a Tier 1 site with road access, rail service, power, and gas already available.
One of my biggest concerns is we have housing shortages now. So your actual plan, is it going to be camps or what? When do you start working on those?
Our preference is not to go to camps. So right at this stage, we're not planning camps. The reason for that is we would prefer to have people that can go home at night, live in the area, and be part of our operations. There are not a lot of mines in Canada where you can drive past a Tim Hortons on the way to work. That to me is being able to live at home and get the benefits.
If the mine is commissioned, Dryden's 2022 draft official plan predicts the city's population could see a 40% increase by 2040. Both company and city representatives say the local housing shortage will need to be addressed. Despite skepticism from some on council, Wyeth suggested they can make a construction decision by the end of 2024 and begin production towards the end of 2026. Northwestern Ontario First Nation is asking the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry for an apology. The KI First Nation is upset about past policies and the treatment of their people by game wardens and conservation officers. Lee Noonan has more.
There are only a handful of First Nations that are harder to access or farther from the population centres in the province than Kitchener-May-Kusibininiwak. But Chief Donnie Morris is alleging that from the 1920s through to the 50s, their people were harassed and terrorized by game wardens and conservation officers, and he wants an apology.
Confiscating fur, destroying camps, destroying fish weirs, and limiting, for example, if you have a large family, like you'd get licensed like this, or you have a name, and you're only allowed to kill 8 beaver a year. How can you survive? And I think that's how we got coerced into signing treaty.
According to Morris, when he requested a meeting to discuss the matter with the minister, he was referred instead to an MNRF district manager in Sioux Lookout.
And I strongly feel that, as a chief, it's supposed to be the chief and the minister. If I want to start discussing an apology, compensation, and our own laws, how we want our policies to be recognized by the Ontario government, we need to sit down seriously and have an open dialogue.
In a statement to TBT News, a ministry representative said they'll be meeting with partners from KI to better understand their concerns, saying they're critical to reconciliation and continued collaboration. But Morris says there's no such meeting on the books. As a member of the KI-6 who were jailed in 2008 for leading an anti-mining protest, Morris says he knows the cost of a legal battle. Although he hopes to keep the issue out of the courts, he is willing to go that route if the province doesn't come to the table.
I think it's due time when you look at what Canada is going through with truth and reconciliation. And I just want the truth to be known.
Morris also wants Ontario to return the former MNR site and other provincially held lands within the reserve boundaries to the First Nation. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
The streets of the waterfront district came to life today as hundreds of people spent the day exploring the various local wares at the 2023 Craft Revival. Hundreds of products were featured from more than 150 vendors, including jewelry, clothing, and home decor. This year's event expanded further down Cumberland Street for a total of 22 locations around the North Core. The event also had a number of live performances taking place in various venues, and with Craft Revival running since 2014, Executive Director Kara Pratt said its impact on the community over the years has been exponential.
It gets community together, it gets people into different places. It really showcases what Thunder Bay can do. We have a ton of talented artisans, we have a lot of small businesses, and they're what keeps our economy, because we're so isolated, everything going. And it brings a lot of new perspectives into Thunder Bay, because we started out very small, like 6 artisans in a living room, and now, 153.
Pratt says the next event is scheduled for November 26th, and she can't wait to see more people come out and show support. Fort William Gardens was once again packed with people who wanted to enjoy the final day of the Folklore Festival. Organizers couldn't be happier about the turnout over the weekend, as they suspect attendance records may have been broken. Jessica Clement reports.
The second day of the festival saw hundreds of more people wanting to experience the multicultural offerings from countries from around the world. The food court was once again packed with visitors who wanted to have a taste of the various international cuisines offered, and the main stage had even more performances lined up, including Nancy Dotzel, who sang Irish songs, the Italian Alpini Choir of Thunder Bay, and Le Stelle Alpine Italian dancers. Dancer Chloe Creekman says she was excited to showcase some of her culture through dance.
It's really exciting because we get to show people more about the Italian culture than they really know, and it's just nice to show and express that in our dancing.
Chair of the children's area, Jendea Hopkins, has been involved with the Folklore Festival since she was 5 years old. She says the festival leaves a big impact on the community, especially the youth.
I honestly think this is such an important event. When I was growing up, there wasn't a lot of recognition about my culture. I learned all about it from my parents. And as this festival is going on to its 50th year, we have tons of new cultures that are joining in, and everybody can come here and feel celebrated. And kids can walk through and learn about every culture. They can come in and look for their flag and everything like that, bring their friends and celebrate culture all together. It's honestly amazing.
With around 8,000 people coming out to the gardens on Saturday, festival co-coordinator Janeti Juma believes they'll break attendance records.
I am predicting we are going to break the record of 14,000 people, and that was its 40th anniversary. I feel it in my bones. I see it in the number. I see it in the crowds. And Sunday's always a slow start, and we're already filling up the stands.
Juma already has next year's Folklore Festival on her mind and says she's hoping to make it even bigger and better. Anyone who's interested in getting involved next year can go online at folklorefestival.ca. Jessica Clement, TBT News.